Hey guys, welcome back to JK Rants and Reviews. I'm John.
I'm not.
That's Caleb. Today we're going to be talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I fell.
And this might be broke it. He broke it.
Let's get the biggest thing, cuz?
No.
You're gonna break the table.
Here we go.
Do we need a sequel, a reboot, continuance of the franchise? Caleb, take it away.
Yes. Okay. So this is one I'm actually kind of adamant about. I do believe A Nightmare on Elm Street can survive. I do think it's going to be very difficult to pull off and make people happy. People have so much attachment to Robert Englund portraying Freddy Krueger, and they have this huge following of Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. And there's so much writing on, there's a fandom of the 1, 3, and New Nightmare as a trilogy. And then there's so much of the fans who follow the entire series. And there's even a cult following of the reboot, which personally, I like Jackie Earle Haley. I dislike the rest of the movie. But I think where they're going to get it wrong is they are going to do we said this in Friday the 13th. I think they're going to do just another reboot, and it's going to be brought out as this quote-unquote fresh idea, and they are going to rush the story like they did with this reboot, and they're not going to introduce us to the characters properly, and then we're just going to get a shot-by-shot recap, and it's not going to look as good. It's not going to mean as much as what it meant with the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, okay. So we have 9 movies, including the reboot. Like, you have 1 through 6, right? 1 through 6. And then you have A New Nightmare, which is a meta before Scream. I love it. Could have been a little bit better, but I love it. And then you have Jason. Once again, a few tweaks. Could have been much better, but I love it.
Freddy was actually really well done for Freddy versus Jason. He was maniacal. He was cruel. He was cold. He was almost back to how he was in the earlier films. It was the original film that didn't feel that way.
Yeah, the Freddy in Freddy vs. Jason is actually my favorite Freddy. And we might rank them eventually, so I just gave that away. But it's actually my favorite Freddy because it is a good combination of all of the different movies. So once again, we have 9 movies, right? And then we have Freddy's Nightmares if you want to go into a weird thing. So we have different adventures you can go on. We have different characters. We have different things. We have a reboot with Jackie Earle Haley. I like him as Freddy just like you do. I don't like the rest of the movie. It's just one of those things where I think if you reboot it, which is, I think, the only option you have.
Unfortunate.
You could probably do a sequel to the Jackie Earle Haley reboot. You could probably do it and probably be decent. I think you could do it. It might be all right.
I think that film left a bad taste in too many people's mouths. They either associate the film with being a shot-by-shot remake, or the fact that they went too far into the pedophilia, whereas it was hinted at in the originals. Like, you didn't have to be very intelligent to put it together in the original films.
Right. Well, unfortunately, it's like Seven, where, there's no subtlety anymore. You have to hit somebody in the head with a sledgehammer for them to understand and hear what you're saying. So that's my thing, is either you need to do a reboot and completely delete Nancy and all the other characters and just go wild. And if you do that, I think you need to do like a Conjuring, Insidious, / Inception, with like the dreams and stuff like that. I think you really need to just drive home the horrible demon entity that is Freddy. I just think you need to go full tilt with a reboot and delete everything else so nobody has any expectations. The only thing that's similar to Freddy or you need to do a sequel. I just like you said, I don't think a sequel will be successful. But I mean, you're really gonna have to really try. You just in today's market with today's critics, with today's theater going public. We've raised everything. Stephen King's It, Halloween, everything is just, the bar has been raised so much that you're going to have to bring not your A game. You're going to have to bring a game you never even knew you had.
And I'm not normally a fan of this idea, but I actually think A Nightmare on Elm Street could work as either a Netflix series or at least a mini series where you get a little more time with the characters because of the depth that the dream world takes. So, I mean, maybe a feature film isn't the best route to go because we've been there, we've done it. And yeah, it was successful, but nobody's going to hold a candle to what Robert Englund did. Like, as much as we're going to try, everybody who's our age or a little younger, a little older knows that Freddy Krueger is Robert Englund. Like, whether or not that bugs us is different, but it's just a fact. So maybe bringing Freddy to the big screen isn't the best idea right now. Maybe keeping him in your homes is better.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, Robert Englund nailed the character. It's just like Brad Dourif as Chucky. When they announced the new movie with Mark Hamill, I love Mark Hamill. Everything he's done, his whole career is fantastic. Him as a person, I like him. But it's not Chucky. And when I hear Mark Hamill speak, I can hear the Joker. But unfortunately, I think that you went so long, 20 years or whatever it is with the character, that unfortunately you kind of screwed yourself in that character, in that franchise. Like, I honestly think somebody can do just as, not a better job than Robert Englund, but just as good.
And
people won't give it a chance.
No, or just because of what we're used to. It's like, it's the same conundrum that I'm going to bring it up again that we have in Terminator. Terminator has a fascination with getting Arnold's face back in the movie, or it's not, quote unquote, a Terminator film. And it's a problem. It is a big problem. I don't think that the Terminator film should have been circled around Arnold, as much as I don't think that we necessarily need Robert Englund to make the film work. Do I think him having a cameo would be great? Yes. Do I think him maybe guiding the actor or actors who potentially portray Freddy is a good idea? Yes. Do I think maybe giving him a little bit of creative control could be good? Definitely. But I don't think they'll do any of that because they're going to, once they do figure out what they're going to do, I think they're just going to rush it out and hope to make a cash cow off of it.
Yeah, I think the problem now is they're realizing they can't just come out and throw a movie out every year like they did, like Saw did, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Every year they just pumped out a new one because everybody was just dying to see the new horror. Horror has been done. It's 2020 and above. Like, it's just something where you have to bring good characters, likable characters you hate. You have to bring suspense. You have to bring thrills. You have to bring the gore. You have to bring the next level of horror, and especially with Freddy Krueger, where you have it's unlimited to the mind. As much as your mind can create and interpret the dream world and the scariest things that would hurt you and mess with you, you really, Freddy Krueger is the one that deserves the remake the most, I would say. But I just don't know, man. I just don't know. If they do it, if you do another reboot, this is your last chance. Nobody will ever give you another chance after this reboot.
Not at least for the next 15, 20 years. Now,
yeah, it's going to be a long, long time.
That's kind of why I think maybe something like Netflix or HBO or something like that could actually handle this a little bit better. I mean... Well,
but the problem with that, though, is Freddy's best in small doses. The more you get of Freddy, the more it goes into that MTV comedy weird stuff.
That's where you move it towards a mini-series. You release 2 episodes to 3 episodes a year. And
yeah, but America's not used to that. That's more of like a British thing.
But it still could be done.
It could be.
Personally, that's the route I would want to take it, just because, like you said, too much exposure to Freddy, he's MTV again, but too little, it's forgettable. And if you do it wrong, and I think that just a feature film, an hour and a half long, no matter what, it could be stellar in most horror people's minds, and then all of a sudden it tanks at the box office because people just didn't want to see it.
Man. I think what Freddy needs is a really good Loomis character. Let's say, you know how in, what is it, Freddy's Dead, I think he says that every town has an Elm Street. I think if you expand on that and Freddy start, like, you know, if you do the miniseries, the first couple episodes are with, you could maybe put Nancy in there or something else like that. But you put them in there, and if Freddy starts running through people, then all of a sudden there becomes this like one little pocket of resistance, and then you build up to the Dream Warriors, and then you build up to the Dream Master. Like, I think you could probably do a solid season or two if you do it right. But you're going to have, once again, there's a lot of work that goes into being creative with the dreams. Now, there's two ways to go about it. You keep it very, very simple, like Wes Craven did, and you make it, the dreams look just like reality, but then it's not a dream. Or you go really, really loopy and make the dreams creepy and stuff like that. And like I said, go more of like the Inception idea, where the dream like morphs around you and puts you in weird situations and, you know, creepy stuff like that.
That's kind of what the Reboot did with like the scene at the pharmacy. Like
the micro naps and stuff. Yeah.
I'll give that movie that. That was a great concept, and it's a shame that the rest of the script was so bad. But yeah, I don't know. I just, unfortunately, I think no matter what they do, they're going to be held to a higher standard than any other horror franchise, because Freddy is so iconic. Like, giving his characterization has to be done right. If he's too funny, it's going to fail. If he's too scary, it's going to fail. And that sucks to say. He's going to have to be the perfect balance. And not just that, he's going to have to be somebody who can actually pull off that balance. If he delivers flat lines, it's going to be a failure.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I think you're right. Yep. Yeah. God. And I just don't know if you know until, because I've seen a lot of like actors that go in and read their scripts, and they deliver a pretty good performance just for like their script in front of their hand or whatever they're doing. But until he's in full makeup, action, I just don't know. I just don't know. So
now you could maybe do something interesting and take the B horror movie route. I'm not a huge fan of the idea, but I think that would be a safe way to play it. They won't do it because it's too big of a ticket, but if you brought it back to something towards like Hatchet, or, you know, something with a little bit of camp and horror, but maybe not on the same level of campiness as the Hatchet franchise, you might be able to walk away with something that people are all like, okay, whatever.
Well, and I think, okay, let's expand on that just for a second here, and then we'll wrap up. But Robert Englund has said that he's too old to come back as Freddy. You know, he's done this cat and mouse game where he's like put the little bit of food out there and, you know, let people come to him, and, you know, nothing against him or anything like that, but he's played the game for a little bit. He's come out and said, I'm too old for this, but he still might be interested in if they did like a cartoon or a CGI complete movie where he doesn't have to sit in a chair and all he's got to do is voice Freddy. And now I'm all for that because I think it gives you, it builds the hype of Freddy again. It might get you excited. Where at the same time you get the voice of Freddy, but you disconnect the face of Freddy just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like make it a little bit more. I can't really think of maybe like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. The first thing that comes up to my head, where it's similar to the character, but it's kind of artistic and cartoony. I think that would help distance you from that character, and then when you build up the hype, then boom, come out with a real movie.
Instead of that, I would almost rather a video game. I feel like, you know, with a lot of the like animated and cartoon or or whatever series, doing that with action and sci-fi and stuff, like, it works, but doing it with horror crosses a new line that I don't know that I can sit through a horror cartoon.
Well, but I mean, make it like legit, like a legit. I don't know. Like, you could make. Here's the beautiful thing about Freddy, right? You could make a legit movie, and the dream world is more like a cartoon, and where Robert Englund does not have to sit in the chair, and you can expand it that way, where everything's kind of foggy and a little different and stuff like that. Just an idea that I get it, but at the same time, I think video games die. They had Ghostbusters 3. They did a video game, nobody cared.
No, everybody cared. It was
but nobody cared.
You're wrong.
If you did a legit 2-hour movie of Ghostbusters 3 and did a CGI movie that looked like the original Ghostbusters, voiced by the original Ghostbusters, you'd care a hell of a lot more now than you did about some video game you played 10 years ago. Because you pop in the movie at any time, but you're not going to pop in a 10-year-old video game very often.
I mean, you obviously haven't met me.
Okay, the average person. But anyway, guys, so let us know what you think is the best future for Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs. It's still up in the air. It's with, Wes Craven's estate, and then, somebody else owns it. I can't even remember. We'll have to just wait and see what happens. But I'm sure they're going to do what everybody else does and just jump off the first movie. But without Robert Englund, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah. So make sure and like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get some more on our. We'll probably have some more of these podcasts coming your way. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time.
I don't even know what to say. Everything's a reboot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you guys want a legit movie that you probably maybe not have heard of, go check out Hush on Netflix. It is a fantastic movie that's not tied to any franchise. Check it out.
That or The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
There you go.
All three of those were really good. Hush, The Void, and Autopsy of Jane Doe. They're all unique. They're all fun. And maybe we should review unique movies like that soon. Yeah.
I kind of want to review Terrifier because the acting from that actor was so good, and they're working on the second one. I mean, I'm not going to say the movie was great. I'm just saying the acting. He makes a horror icon without using a single word that equals, in my mind, Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yep.